All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be giving you guys everything you need to know here for the Wyndham Championship without giving you too much. Going to be breaking down the top picks and plays, the best values, the best outright bets, as well as the best lineup process for you guys for DFS. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so looking at the Wyndham Championship, we are playing at a course and a tournament in which we have seen a bunch, so we know what to expect stat fit wise. We know what to expect data wise, so it's going to be another easy week to predict. You know, lately it's just been, we're at the portion of the season where it's just easier to predict. And so hopefully we can have another kind of sweat-free week like last week. Last week should have been a better week had Rahm or Xander not choked, but still a solid week across the board. But looking at this tournament, we kind of get a good indication of what the average win score is most likely going to be. Around 20 to 21 under par is what we're probably looking at this week. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump into really everything that we need to be looking at for this week. Let's talk about the top stat fits. And you guys will see as I'm going through this video, I have updated the cheat sheet a little bit more so for these tabs, the course history, recent form, and specialist tab. I think it's just going to flow a little bit better. You know, I'm always trying to work on updates for you guys. Again, all this data is going to be available for you guys for just $10 a month. So if you guys want a piece of that data, go out there and check it out. You know, again, $10 a month. So looking at it, the key stats that we're looking at this week, specifically for this week, are going to be ball striking, stroke gain approach. This is the definition of a second shot golf course. This is where, you know, we came up with that term pretty much, is a second shot golf course. Ball striking, stroke gain approach. You could look at greens and regulation as well. Birdie or better percentage as well. You need to be scoring on this track, obviously minus 20. And again, it's one of those weird things where basically every single week is a week in which par 5 scoring is key. It's just one of those weird things. Now, you might say because there's less par 5s, it's not as crucial. That's not what the data says. And just as an FYI, when I'm looking at something like that, I'm looking at, is it par 4 scoring or par 5 scoring or either of those key stats? So that's really what I'm looking at when I say that, just as an FYI. But looking at the top stat fits, we got Luke Glenn, Jonathan Vegas, Keith Mitchell, Davis Thompson, Chan Kim, Aaron Wright, EVR, Doug Gim, Akshay Rico as well. And so the one part of this that I updated, well, you guys will see a decent amount that I updated. We got the course key stats. Okay, this is going to be the weekly key stats that are going to be the key stats specific for that event. Now, I realize that people sometimes want more information, even though it's not needed, even though it most likely won't help. I get it. So I wanted to make this more available to you guys. You know, I really try to streamline the data as tight as possible. You know, eliminate the fluff, eliminate the stuff that doesn't matter. I really try to do that. But again, this is a service for you guys as well at the same time. If it gives you more comfort in a play, being able to see something like that, I get it. And so I did add that in there. And so we can see, like, this is a good example of potentially why you'd be looking at that. So we can see Keith Mitchell has been one of the best stats in the field, especially when we look at it for his season-long stats. When we look at it a little bit more recently, though, we can see not as good strokes gained total, okay? And we can see that's probably because he's gotten a little bit worse strokes gained off the tee, okay? That's probably a major contributor for him as well. Strokes gained around the green, he's always been bad. Strokes gained putting, he's always been bad, but he's gotten worse putting as well. And so, yeah, he hasn't been playing as well. And so maybe you think, oh, he's going to, and this is the trap here. It's like, oh, well, he's been playing worse recently. He's due to have a spike week to get back to his average. Yes, that's true. At the same time, you could say, well, he's just on a bad spell of golf, and you know we don't want to target him now. It's kind of a trap, right? But I just want to point that out. But again, that's going to be available for you guys. Those are the top stat fits. I feel pretty good about the players that are popping up stat fit wise, okay? And so let's go ahead and jump into the players that are in the best recent form in the field. And so again, that's going to mimic the same kind of page that we had for the stat fit. If you guys are ever curious as to, you know, why something is laid out the way it is as well, kind of why we're looking at it that way, I do have the definition on top as well. So that's another just aspect in there. And if you guys were ever curious as to like which events are going into a player's log, select him, like click on that player, and I've included this. Scroll down, you can see their last 7 starts. Looking at the last 7 starts because that's when the data is the most relevant, just as an FYI. And so the golfers that are going to be in the best recent form in the field, well, we have them listed right here, the top 5. Okay, Aaron Rai, Sungjae Im, Shane Lowry, Brian Harman, and Thomas Dietrich. Look at the pricing difference there, right? That's going to tell us really everything I think that we need to know about this week. It's kind of a more of a random field, honestly, in general. And we're going to be sacrificing some things in the lineup in terms of security. And we can see like recent form as Aaron Rice 75th in one of his events, Brian Harman coming in off of his 60th place finish. So there has been a definite hit or miss nature there. And we can see the problem with Sungjae Im has been the fact that he has had some random miscuts. Crazy enough, we look at Sungjae Im. I mentioned him at the Open Championship. that he was going to be a player that was a little bit too chalky. He was one of the best ownership leverage fades you can make that week. Turns out he made the cut on the number and then made a really good Saturday. But the player that you would have been on, Adam Scott, actually finished with more fantasy points. So it's kind of a push in terms of that narrative. But the reason why he was someone that was projected to be a potential, ownership letdown was the fact that he has had that hit or miss nature. Now, recently, he's kind of avoided that. I mean, obviously, one stroke away from missing the cut, right? But he was able to turn that into a top 10 finish. And so I do think there is still a little bit of that concern about him potentially missing the cut, but he is the top play in the 9-5 model, as you guys will see. I'm going to be trading him as such. He's going to be my one and done pick. A little bit nervous about that, but this is the week that we kind of have to fire him off. And we do have Shane Lowry. I believe he has the highest make cut streak going on this week in the PGA Tour. He does 15 straight there, and then Aaron Rai, Brian Harman. So obviously we always care about that. And Shane Lowry has been someone that has been playing better, has shown some top 10 finishes as well. Love that. He did fall off a little bit, though, during the Olympics as well last week. We got Brian Harman. Thomas Ricci was clutch with that top 10 finish last week. Sam Stevens, who has been playing well. Ben Silverman. Max Gracerman's probably going to be a player I'm going out of my way to target a lot. We got Davis Thompson, who won a few events ago. So there are a decent amount of players that are in some decent amount of good form, which I like to see. I was wanting to get into specialists. Let's jump into course history first, because we do have a lot of course history. And again, guys, I did add in another section for you guys for the fun course history is why I'm mentioning it, because data wise, you really just want to be looking at the last 4 years as to when the data is the most relevant and the most significant. Again, though, I get that people like to look at that, so I added in 3 more years into that for people to be able to look at. But when it comes to course history, really what we want to see is golfers that have made multiple starts at that tournament. And this is where SunJam is just going to tell us that he's a phenomenal play. So over the past 4 years, 14th, 2nd, 24th, and 9th place finishes, just elite course history there from him. And then it does kind of drop off a little bit. Billy Horschel does have some good course history, 4th, 27th, 2nd. Sibyl Kim, mostly good, 1 missed cut, but also 2 top 3 finishes, 3 out of 4 make cuts here. But we can see, course history, it is a little bit hit or miss for the most part. Jaeger's played well. Taylor Moore's played well. Chaston Hadley maybe is someone we can look at. Webb Simpson has obviously made his career at this tournament, and everyone knows the narrative, but he named his daughter Wyndham after this tournament, so there is that partial narrative there as well. He just likes playing this course, and obviously he's played this course well. So a lot of good course history here. And then lastly, let's go ahead and jump into the specialist data. So specialist data, again, laying it out, I think a little bit better and more easy to navigate for a lot of people. So if you just want to look at the specialist rank, you can just click on deselect everything and then click on specialist. There we go. And so you can just see which golfers are going to be the best specialists. Shane Lowry, Davis Thompson, Brian Harman, Cameron Young, Thomas Dietrich, Luke Clanton, small sample size for him, as we know, Bazoonhout, Aaron Rai. And so again, that's kind of the trimmed up version of it, if you will. But this gives you more power to be like, all right, I want to see maybe location. Which players play the best on these North Carolina tracks? Who can we target there? Obviously, everything's listed here. We know that the greens are going to be very tight, very small. Maybe look at that. Fairway width is relatively small as well. And so maybe you guys want to look at that. That's something we can be looking at. And that's just another piece to the puzzle. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the top picks and plays for this week. And so we are going to start with SunJam. He is kind of the class of the field this week. He has been someone that has been trending in the right direction for a win as well. One real quick thing as well. I want to point this out. So I did add in the 9-5 rank here as well. I mentioned, and so the model rank is going to stay the same. That's what all the data is going to be working off of throughout the week, is the model rank. The 9-5 rank is the pure 9-5 rank. And the only difference in that is that I am slightly adjusting in the rank tab here what Vegas is thinking, what their make cut percentage and what they're thinking for outrights. And the reason why I want to kind of have 2 separation data points in there is so we can, see where we are potentially getting some value. So we can see the 9-5 model does like Davis Thompson a little bit more than probably Vegas does. And so even though, he's down a little bit low, he's still popping up as a good value for us in general there. We'll see some more as the video goes, but I did want to call that out. That's a slight update that I made. And you can also see that, again, on the 9-5 profile here. Once you click on it, that's going to be listed right here as well if you guys want to see that. But looking at SunJam, we can see he is the class of the field. A little bit worrisome when we look at his stat fit, okay? But he is someone that, if we look at the last 5, we can see that's probably more close to what he has been able to do, throughout his career. And so, yes, we know that ball striking, strokes gained approach are going to be some of the key stats. And so, yes, this is where I'm finding a narrative and going with it. I'm finding a reason to go out of my way to target him. Stat fit wise, like obviously stat fit is going to be the reason why we wouldn't want to target him potentially as the top ranked or as the top salary play DFS wise, and also outright wise 14-1. I'm happy to do that, but the stat fit would be the one concern. But then we look at his last 5 starts, we can see season wise 66 in the field in strokes gained approach, whereas if you look at his last 5 starts, he'd be 8th in the field. And so we can see that with ball striking as well, 81st in the field. That's terrible. 20th though over his last 5 starts. And so that does give me some more encouragement that he has been improving as well. Obviously the form's been great minus those random miscuts. He really just needs to alleviate one bad round. And if he does that at this track where he has had tremendous success, I do expect that to be more likely. And if he does do that, I do expect him to win. So DFS wise, I think he's a starting point. Betting wise, I think he's a starting point is 1. The fact that we're getting a player that, has been playing this well, trending in the right direction for a win, has that tremendous course history at 14-1 does seem to be a little bit strange to me. I thought he would have been closer to 10-1. That is a decent value that we are getting this week. And so again, DFS wise, I think he's a starting point. So from there, what can we do? Well, from there, we do have Shane Lowry. He is someone that is going to be a decent looking play. Second best pick in the 905 model. I do worry we're paying up a little bit too much for him. He is someone that probably should give us a make cut. We do have Billy Horschel right there that we could potentially be on. I feel like he is also a little bit too high priced, a little bit concerning in terms of him potentially making the cut, but he does have that upside. He does have that winning upside. Already won on tour this season. Obviously had a good play or good start in his last tournament. So I do fear that really the top end here, other than SunJam, on paper is just a little bit too high priced. And I get why they are high priced. I get why they're priced this way. I would rather go probably Siwoo Kim next in terms of priority, but the pricing is not that different and we really don't need to go there. Now you guys will see it's super easy to make a great build. I would worry about targeting the one player that you want to be on the most. Obviously for me, that's going to be SunJam in terms of pay-ups, and then let the lineup process play out. If you guys have enough salary left over, be happy to end up on Siwoo Kim, Cameron Young, Brian Harman, Davis Thompson. But let's talk about Davis Thompson because he is the play that I want to mention here. And so yes, obviously Davis Thompson has been someone that has been playing extremely well, winning at the John Deere Classic for us. And he is someone that I think I'd be happy to bet on again this week. We can give him at 35-1 on most sites. And that's a bet that I'm happy to do. We can see, 905 model wise, 3rd rank, overall model rank 5th. That's fine. Course history wise does have course history. A made cut and a miscut kind of well with the miscut. He's a much better player now than really 4 years ago. But the fact that he does have that course experience is huge. And what's encouraging to me is even after that victory, he has still played well. Not the best results that you would want, but those are at 2 tracks where you probably wouldn't naturally think he would play well. At the Open Championship and at the Scottish Open, this is going to be a course that fits his game much more. And I think that's going to be pretty evident by the green width, 5th in the field in small green scoring. So love that there. And really nothing points to him potentially struggling there. Maybe down Ross courses, 44th in the field. And that is something that I do think is probably important if you guys are looking at specialist data. But he is someone where the pricing is so soft, DFS-wise, I'm happy to play him. And outright-wise, I feel like that's just an easy click. From there, another kind of easy click to me is going to be Aaron Rai. If you guys have been following the channel, this season, obviously you benefited from being on Aaron Rai a bunch at a cheap price point. It's been super nice there. He's someone I'm going to go back to the well with again this week. So 10 straight made cuts for him on the PGA Tour. Form, I guess, slightly fallen off. But again, with him at the Open Championship, you were really just hoping for him to make the cut. Did have a little bit of a bad week, I would say, in comparison to the rest of his weeks. We can see a 4th, 7th, 2nd, 19th, 4th. He was just playing great golf. And because of that bad finish, still making the cut, we can get him at great lines, 35-1. He's at such a soft price for DFS. I'm happy to play him as well. He's really just someone that's coming in, checking all the boxes, except for the bad course history. Okay, that's the concern. Does have the course experience, but he's going to be a top 10 stat fit, really strong in the approach game and ball striking game, top 10 there. And the form, again, is darn solid. So he is someone I'm happy to click on here as well. But let's continue on. You got Seabass there. That's fine. Luke Clanton, I think he'll be someone that can bounce back this week as well. Thomas Dietrich, again, was very much clutch for us last week. He's someone I think I'd be happy to play as well again this week. Not going to be the best stat fit, but top 5 specialist, top 10 course history rank. That's with 1 start. and then 5th best in recent form. That form is huge, and that's super tough for me not to target. At the same time, given how soft a pricing that we have this week, he almost feels like more of a lineup filler, which is kind of a bummer. But at the same time, if you guys are finding reasons to play him, by all means, go for it. From there, I want to drop down to Johnny V. And so Johnny V was a super annoying outright winner because I don't want to say it was random for him to win at the 3M Open. It was within the realm of possibilities. But in terms of like being a good outright bet that week, he wasn't considered a good outright bet. He was someone that you could potentially play, if that makes sense. Again, like how I kind of measure that, there's this data right here, guys. Outright tag is just making up all the kind of different breakdowns. You got outright bets, possible outright bets, long shot only bets. If you guys want to look at that, you can click on that. And he just barely beat out a good outright bet in Max Gracerman. The reason why that was unfortunate is because he is a much better outright bet on paper this week than he was at the 3M Open. Now, that's partially due to him having a good week at the 3M Open. But gosh, he's so much better on paper this week than that week. So it's a little bit tilting there. I would, if he wasn't coming in off of a victory, I would consider him a good outright bet. I'm sure the data would as well. And that's because of relatively, okay course history, a made cut and a miscut. That made cut was a top 10 place finish. Stat fit wise, though, elite. Second best stat fit in the field. Top 10 or better in ball striking, stroke gain approach, par 5 scoring, birdie or better percentage. So if he is on his game, he is going to be someone that does have the potential to win, and we can still get him at 60-1. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good bet as well. We can see Vegas does not like him as much as the 9-5 model, but across the board, he is someone that I do think we can target as well. We are going to see, though, like specialist-wise, it's the biggest concern. I would say it's a slight knock on him, but that's why we're getting him at a cheaper price tag. Now, he is someone that is going to be a little bit difficult to get to because you can play someone like Kurt Kitayama, who is really popping up as well. I think he's a phenomenal play. We got EVR, who's always someone that, like, stat fit wise can really pop. If he's on his game, he can hit. Keith Mitchell has been very annoying this year, but he's someone that obviously season long has looked great. You can easily get to him as well. But really where we're getting the best value is where we've been getting the best value for like the past month now. Max Gracerman, I don't really get why he's priced this low. Again, he was someone that on paper was the better kind of option. A little bit unlucky, I guess, for him to not win against Johnny V. Just typically speaking, better ranked players are typically more likely to win. That's obvious, but he just makes for another phenomenal, I think, outright bet as well. The 9-5 model would have him at 8. Again, when you adjust it for Vegas ranking, closer to 16. And again, I want to make this clear. So the reason why I'm including the 9-5 model ranking in there as well is because someone asked us in the comments last week, I believe, kind of my outright betting process. And my outright betting process was determined by all the data that I collect throughout the years. Really looking at it, it's basically over 50% of the time a player that was top 5% in the field was winning. So in a full tournament field, that's basically top 7 in the 9-5 model. And if you just did that, the average odds of that player, or the average odds of the winner then, was like 20-1. And when I realized that, I was like, all right, that's just dumb not to just bet purely on the top 5% of the field basically every single week. Now, it's been a little bit different this year with Scottie Scheffler, obviously, winning all the time at poor odds. But that hasn't really changed the expected units won or the amount of units or the amount of winners that we've been on this year. Still up 65 units, and we still hit a quarter of the outright bets, which that's typically the goal. And so when I say someone's a good outright bet or a bad maybe more of a kind of shoulder shrug outright bet, if you will, that's what I mean by that. And so Max Gracerman, I know he's 8th. Again, I'm going to maybe target the form a little bit better, a little bit more. 8th in the field there. And the form has been tremendous. I mean, just trending in the right direction. Basically finished top 30 or better in all of his starts, and obviously had that pop week at the 3M Open. Key stat-wise, still top 20 in the field. Specialist-wise, still top 20. He would be someone that would be checking all the boxes this week if he had course history. That's the one main concern with him, is that he does not have that course history. And I do think that is something that we want to be paying attention to. That might hinder his likelihood to win. But we get him at 75-1 on PointsBet on FanDuel. I'm happy to do that. And just for what it's worth, DraftKings, I know they're kind of a point of topic right now in some states. There's like 5 states where starting in January, I believe it was, DraftKings is going to put a like 20% tax or something. I didn't read into it too much, but on winning bets. And so I probably won't be using DraftKings too frequently. And typically speaking, they're not giving better odds than FanDuel or BetMGM or PointsBet as well. And those are some of the more prominent ones in the US as well. And so it's kind of dumb that they did that. Obviously, that can be very huge if you are betting on golf, that percent difference. So I wanted to call that out. Just be on the lookout for when that gets confirmed. if it's in your state. I think it's worth looking at. But that's my long way of saying Max Gracerman, happy to get to him as well. I guess you do worry a little bit about where he's going to be at mentally, just coming so close to winning, maybe feeling like he was going to win at one point. Maybe a little bit worried there. We got Jaeger, who has played this event extremely well, has played poorly recently, especially compared to earlier on in the season, but he is someone that I think could have definitely a good week. From there, we go down to like Patrick Rogers. He's someone that is certainly popping up as well. 5 straight made cuts, top 10 in the field in recent form rank. Obviously, that's never a bad thing. Love to see that there from him. We got Sam Stevens as well. Sam Stevens making 6 straight cuts. Does have course experience, which was a terrible miscut, but like to see that he does have course experience. Top 20 stat fit, top 25 specialist, top 10 in recent form rank. And so he's someone we can certainly get to as well. So this is another good reason why I wanted to do the 9 to 5 model included in here as well. He has been someone that has been popping up so much lately, and I was kicking myself for not being on him more really the last couple of weeks, because he has been someone that has been popping up in the 9 to 5 model more so than the overall model rank. And so still 27th, we're still going to be ending up on him. That's still clearly telling us to play him, especially at this price tag. But what does it like? I mean, he's a good stat fit, especially in terms of ball striking and par 5 score. Yeah, and par 5 scoring there. A little bit concerning his birdie or better percentage on his stroke gain approach, but he is someone who has been a little bit better approach, still solid ball striking. And so, he's someone that we can play. We see the 3M Open finish 6th, Barracuda Championship 3rd, Barbasol 15th. So he has been playing well when we have seen him. He is someone that I think is definitely worth a look in GPP. He's definitely someone I'm targeting value-wise. But we have Andrew Novak, Andrew Novak is definitely popping up as well. Andrew Novak is a golfer that has now made 5 straight cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, 24th, 70th, 7th, 20th, 14th, 71st, 51st. So definitely mixed results in there. We have seen him be able to make the cut when he wasn't exactly on his A game, but also able to give top 10 finishes when he is on his A game. I like that there from him. I would consider him a potential long shot bet. I don't know if I'm exactly going to get there. At the same time, it wouldn't be surprising at all to see him go out and win. This does feel a little bit like Max Gracerman, I guess, at the 3M Open. Maybe you could use like Davis Thompson as an example as well. It kind of feels like that 8-1. I do like those odds, but DFS wise, he does kind of feel like a clear and obvious click. One miscut is, 2 years ago is the one concerned firm course history wise and really data wise. Finished 33rd at this tournament last year. Good form, good stat fit, decent specialist. At that price tag, though, he is certainly going to be someone that I want to be going out of my way to target. And so I will say, lineup process wise right now, maybe have to get off of Davis Thompson or Aaron Rai. I think I'm going to be fine doing that. Again, I don't think I want to get off his son JM. And so we'll see that. We'll still go through the process here, though. And so continuing on, after Andrew Novak, we still have Mac Meissner, who has been someone that was, again, a very much a disappointment 2 events ago. Guys, real quick, the last few Sundays have been extremely tilting. It's like, oh, this could be a really massive week too. No, doubling up. A good week. Can't be mad about a good week. Never want to complain about a good week. But to have that thought, especially going into the back 9 like that, where you have so many lineups and so many different paths in which it could be like awesome for those players collectively to fall off. Obviously, last week, John Rahm and Xander both falling off. Super tilting. 2 events ago with Meissner. And there were some others as well where, at one point I had like 3 of the top 4 favorites to win in that tournament. DFS-wise and outright-wise was super annoyed. That being said, it's definitely due to regress the other way. You would hope. It's been annoying in that regard. But he is someone that is definitely popping up. Mark Hubbard, finally found his form. It seemed like, again, after kind of losing it for a little bit of a weird stretch, he is someone I'd be happy to target. I would assume specialist-wise is going to be a typically good specialist in terms of like the smaller fairways, smaller greens, but I want to see that. Green width, 20th in the field, so I would say he benefits from that. Fairway width, 20th in the field. Let's look at length. Length is not the best, 50th, but not terrible as well. So yeah, he is someone that you would argue does benefit from this style of track. Webb Simpson, obviously Webb Simpson has been terrible, but in terms of chasing someone just due to their course history, you could do that. He hasn't been nearly as bad as I would have thought, coming in as the 51st pick as well in the model, so don't mind that. Rico Hoy, obviously someone that we've been targeting a decent amount as well. He's been someone, again, knocking on the door outright wise for us. 120 to 1 for him as well, or 125 on a couple of sites as well. If you wanted to chase the long shot nature on him, you could. Obviously, he has shown the upside to potentially go out and win. 67th at the 3M Open, obviously don't like that. But besides that, 8th, 2nd, 26th, 6th. I mean, he has shown that upside. Maybe it's something that you can target top 10 wise. I mean, let's see that. 11 to 1. maybe not a terrible idea. Key stat wise, though, I mean, that's going to be part of the appeal, guys. Top 10 staff in the field, 6th in the field in ball striking. A little bit of a concern, I guess. Strokes can approach 55th. Let's see. Has he gotten better recently? 23rd over his past 5 starts. So take that for what it's worth. And then pretty good birdie bird percentage and par 5 scoring. So do like that there from him. Again, form is pretty solid. Good for a value play. We continue on, though. We got Ben Silverman, who 8 straight make cuts in a row. He's someone that is just a strong play across the board. At this price tag, to get someone that is most likely going to give us a made cut. I like that. You got Chan Kim there as well, who's been someone that has been a little bit hit or miss, but stat fit wise, elite stat fit, top 5 staff in the field. So I like that there from him. Chesson Hadley has been someone that obviously likes this track, played it extremely well, 4 straight made cuts at this tournament. He is a North Carolina guy as well, so that probably is part of the reason as to why. Not going to be the best stat fit, not the best specialist. Hasn't been playing all too well this season. I guess mixed results mixed in there, kind of playing as you would expect. So maybe gets a slight bump due to his course history. He'd be someone I consider more of a shoulder shrug play, but happy to get there if needed. And so that kind of sums up the data portion. Let's go ahead and get into the lineup portion of this video. So looking at guys, let's go ahead and give you guys a first look build here. And so again, probably I'm going to slightly adjust this. Maybe go down from Davis Thompson. Maybe go down from Aaron Rai. I guess you could maybe go even more fair and balanced. Maybe go down from Sungjae to Brian Harman. Let's just see what that looks like. Just naturally, Brian Harman. And then we have 8K left over. Jonathan Vegas. That seems like an easy plug and play. This lineup looks really good on paper, right? I'd be happy with this one. I want to see it with Sungjae though. See if we got a slightly different kind of look at what we could be doing. And let's see. Let's go down from, I don't know, to Aaron Rai, Davis Thompson. I just feel like those two are such good plays. Max Grayson, such a good play as well. It's maybe go down from Andrew Novak, who I feel like Novak's the correct play as well. Yeah, this is tough right here because just pricing wise, you guys are all tiered up. This is typically the lineup construction of a normal GPP winning lineup as well. So I like that aspect of it. I know Bramlett's something that's kind of popping up value-wise, I believe. Okay, I guess not. No. You know what? Here, this is what we got the tool for. So I got 6.6 left over. Let's pull up the data slicer here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort the salary down to that exact salary range. And so we're going to filter out all those golfers. And then we're just sorting it by by model rank. It is bad. It is bad on paper. Maybe Zach Johnson can sneak out a make cut for us. Dylan Moose, some of that's kind of popping up. Patton Kazire. Yeah, sure. GPP wise could target him. So this is telling me though, like data wise, that we probably do want to do some sort of a rebuild. And so let me just slightly do this a different way here. So let's start with kind of the lowest price player that I want to be on. So Novak Meissner's right there as well. I think he's fine. We got Rico Hoy as well that we could be on. Again, happy to get there. Like Grayserman, some that we're playing it. And then Silverman. Again, just given the form that he's in, he's someone that I'd be happy to get to, just making a bunch of cuts. Happy to get there. And so let's go Sungjae. And then from there, 8.8 left over. Go Aaron Rai. And we're kind of at a weird pricing range, I would say. There, Thomas Dietrich, I'd be happy to play, I would say. Yeah, that's kind of the issue. I do think getting to Davis Thompson does make a lot of sense. Maybe get off of Aaron Rai to go to Dietrich. Like, I'm kind of okay with that. But we can see that's going to be the theme this week, and that's kind of the week that we have. I don't know if we have any core plays. Like, what does the data tell us? We have any core plays? Oh, I got to take the slicer off. And so yeah, we don't have any core plays, guys, this week. That tells us really all that we need to know about this week. It's going to be a high variance week in terms of high exposure plays. Sungjae, Shane Lowry, Cameron Young, and Thomas Dietrich. That's who the data says are going to be good high exposure plays. And for what it's worth, let's see who the good outright bets are. Siwoo Kim, Davis Thompson, Aaron Rai. Not even Sungjae, which is a little bit surprising to me. Again, this is going to be based off of the previous year's winners, this data tag here, or this outright tag. But obviously, I do agree with Davis Thompson and Aaron Rai as good outright bets. So that's kind of a little bit of confirmation bias there. All right, so you guys saw the first look build. Let's go ahead and get into the lineup builder, see what that's spitting out to us. All right, so again, just giving it 2 data points to go off of. We're going to hit generate here. What I did was I did 3 unique players, 30% max exposure. And so kind of no surprise. I would say a little bit surprised by the amount of Christian Bazoonhound. But from there, it does make sense. It does like Sam Stevens. The data like Sam Stevens. That makes sense. Kurt Kitayama, Doug Gim. Doug Gim's a little bit surprising, I would say, to me. But it is. What it's telling me here is that's really spreading it out. And I would kind of agree. This is a week in which I do have certain players that I want to be dialed in on for sure. Okay. And I'm probably going to, let's just see what this does. I want to lock in Sungjae to 30% of the builds, but this is a week where it might be a lot like last week. I ended up just playing a lot of Xander, a lot of Rahm, which, as you guys know, was extremely tilted on Sunday on the back 9 and really on the last 7 holes. but I think that was correct. And I did that 2 weeks ago as well, which worked out, where I think I might just go a little bit heavier on some of the players like that. So like Sanjay, like Aaron Wright, like Davis Thompson, like Racerman, like Ben Silverman, and probably like Novak, because the day is already naturally telling us that we want to spread out our exposure. And so I think that's the route that I'm going to go. All right, guys, that is going to be all for this video, though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want access to any of the 9 to 5 tools that you saw, we got all the fancy golf tools that you would need and more, as well as some prop tools as well. Get access to all this great data for just $10 a month. Again, I priced it that way for you guys. Take advantage of it. It's the best deal in fantasy sports, definitely the best deal in fantasy golf, and it's really just one of the best tools in fantasy golf at your guys' disposal for $10 a month. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Good luck this week, and as always, let's keep cashing.